I've been exploring organic forms recently, but I want to add some more functionality. So I'm altering the forms so they have built-in handles. So will my handles work, or will they just feel awkward? I'm using 600 grams of clay. And I start by centering. I'm making a bottle, a vase and a jug, but I start with the bottle. This time I'm throwing the right way up. I haven't tried making these before, so it's a bit of an experiment. Once I've centered the clay, I push down into the clay and open out. I leave about 3/4 of a centimetre in the base. I start to form the walls. I pull up the walls into a slightly rounded tall cylinder. This is quite a narrow cylinder and my hand barely fits. So I use a sponge on a stick on the inside of the cylinder as I compress the clay with a rib. And I collar in, gently squeezing the neck. And then pulling up the clay a little more in the neck. I do this a few times until I'm happy with the length, the diameter, and the thickness of the clay in the neck. This is a simple bottle shape, but I want it to be elegant, so I want quite a long neck. And then I trim away any excess clay in the base. I'm not going to trim these forms. It's actually going to be a little difficult because they'll be an irregular form once finished. So I definitely want to get the base of these pots resolved now. And now I rib up the form. I don't really want throwing lines on the surface. I want to get my forms as close to finished as I can before I start altering them. Once I'm happy with the form, I add the handle. I squeeze into the clay. I grab the clay a little off center. I want just enough clay to close the handle. Too little and the handle won't join, and too much, well, it won't really feel like a handle, just a hole in the middle of the pot. And I squeeze the clay together. There needs to be a good area of clay joined together, perhaps about 3 centimeters. And I just make sure that it really is well joined. Recently, I've enjoyed making vessels using trapped air as a shape. So I place a piece of paper over the mouth of the bottle and gently press it down. This traps air inside the form, and I think it's easier to shape. So I poke a hole through the joined area. And then I just slowly enlarge the hole. And I smooth that joined edge. I use a sponge to enlarge and smooth. And then I just tidy up around the join and smooth the form. I set aside to dry before trimming. I don't want it to be leather hard. I still want to be able to push into the clay. As I mentioned earlier, I made a couple of different forms. I'm going to show you the trimming on the vase because it's the same process. I'm just running my finger around the foot of the vase. And then I gently press an indent into the base of the vase. This is just so it sits well on a flat surface. and I dry fully before bisque firing. Now to glazing. I start by pouring a liner glaze, and then I just pour out the glaze and tidy around the top. And then I glaze the exterior. I'm using a pewter brush-on glaze. I think it's worth noting that brush-on glazes are formulated specifically for brushing. They contain gums for suspension, and they often flow on really well, giving a good even coat. Dipping glazes can be quite disappointing if you brush them on, in that you get a very uneven result. Anyway, I give the base of my pieces a good wipe before they go into the kiln, and I glaze fire. If you haven't already done so, remember to subscribe to our channel and like and comment below, it's much appreciated. So here's the jug, the vase and the bottle. So how do I rate this method? Well, the process of forming the handles was really simple, and the pieces have a real sculptural quality. I'm really looking forward to using this technique on larger items. The process itself is really fun. Forming those handles is quite satisfying, and the handles themselves are surprisingly functional. For more organic forms, check out my organically shaped bowl video. And happy potting!